'Tis the season to be jolly. The holiday spirit is in the air. Sleigh bells are ringing, carolers are caroling, and Michael Bublé has fully defrosted. Though everyone's favourite part of the holiday is spending some quality time with the family. Who am I kidding? It's all about the wicked mountain of gifts we all receive. My name is Sebi, and I love receiving gifts. I mean, who doesn't? Though I also like the act of giving. Personally, my favourite type of gift is something that you want, but wouldn't necessarily get yourself. Take flowers, for example. Yes, you could go buy yourself some flowers, and that's definitely a thing. But it's always nicer to be given flowers. See what I mean? And that's the type of gifts I like to give. So this holiday season, it got me thinking, what would be the perfect Christmas gift, and for whom? And then it hit me. A Game Boy. Now, hear me out. Not just any Game Boy. A Game Boy Color, custom designed and modded to be the perfect handheld console for any tech-loving fiend. And who is that tech-loving fiend, you may ask? My friend and fellow YouTuber, Joynon. You see, both Joynon and I grew up through an era where technology was evolving at a rapid rate, and the game consoles we played as kids are now considered to be retro. So how do I give a gift of a Game Boy Color released in 1998 to someone in 2021 who has every single type of a Nintendo Switch already? Personalization. And a better screen. During one of Joynon's Twitch streams, I convinced him to buy an old Game Boy camera as they are surprisingly cheap. Seriously, get one now while you can. I bought mine for roughly like 45 Australian dollars earlier this year, and I love it. Though the problem with the Game Boy Color is that being an old console, it lacks a good screen, let alone a screen that's backlit, making it very hard to see anything if the lighting conditions aren't absolutely perfect. So if Joynon or anyone was to use their Game Boy Color with the Game Boy camera anywhere other than a well-lit room, it would render it pretty useless. With the sudden peak of interest in old retro consoles, the Game Boy modding community has grown at a rapid rate, adding things such as Bluetooth connectivity, improved game sound, wireless charging, and of course, new backlit screens. Now, what I'm talking about today isn't anything new, it has been done before. It's just very expensive and time consuming to spend on something that isn't essential in day-to-day life, but it is very cool, making it the perfect gift. First things first, I jumped on eBay and searched for an old Game Boy Color, as they obviously are no longer sold in stores. And to my surprise, there was actually plenty to choose from. I picked a reputable seller and splashed the cash. Next was to find the new modern parts I needed. For this, I found an Australian site called Retro Gaming Parts. Obviously, depending on where you live, you find a site local to your area if you wish to create something similar. They've got plenty of different options to choose from all the different generations of consoles. All I was after was the funny playing IPS screen kit. Grabbed a replacement speaker just in case and checked out. This isn't a sponsored video, but if you are an Aussie and you find this stuff interesting, I recommend checking out that site as they are harder to find here in the land down under. Next up is the fun creative part, designing the shell, what the actual outside of the Game Boy would look like. I brainstormed a couple of different ideas, seeing what would work best on such a small canvas. But after a while of playing around, I had finalized the design. I searched around the web for somewhere that specialized in custom printing Game Boy shells, a very small niche, I know. But I was pleased to find Retro6 located in the UK. I uploaded my design to their template and sent in my order. Now, it was time to wait. A few weeks went by and everything had arrived. Now it was time to assemble this masterpiece. Now to put it all together, it's relatively simple, it's just a bit finicky. There's plenty of tutorials out there telling you exactly how to do it. Though you will need a soldering iron and some basic soldering skills. I am by no means a professional at soldering, but I've got the basic skills in order to just get by. First off, we grab the original Game Boy Color and tear it down. unlatch the LCD ribbon cable connecting the original screen and remove the motherboard. Now, we'll give it a quick clean. The amount of gunk and grime built up from 20 years of play can get quite foul. Also give the button touchpads a quick clean. I tested this Game Boy Color prior to me pulling it apart, just to make sure it worked. So if it doesn't turn on at the end of all of this, it's something that's my fault that I did along the way. And the speaker on this new Game Boy actually sounds better than my own personal Game Boy, so I won't be needing that. We now grab the driver board. Pre-tin the two pads labeled start and select, then solder the two included wires to the pads. Now we pre-tin the pads labeled P12 and P13, which are start and select, then solder the wires to the corresponding pads. You may notice throughout this video that my hair dangled in the frame quite a bit, and I know now I should have tied it back. My room, it smelled a lot like burning hair a lot of the time. I soldered on the touch sensor to the pad labeled touch and the smaller wire to the pad labeled power. The next bit was the part I struggled with the most. There's a tiny pin on the on-off switch labeled C, and that needs to be connected to the power pad on the driver board ribbon. After struggling with that for a little while and not capturing any great footage of me doing so, it was connected and I was glad I could move on. Now all the hard stuff is out of the way. It was time to install the new screen into our fancy custom printed shell. For some reason I assumed to house a smaller screen, there were little plastic bits sticking up from the back of the shell. They weren't made for the screen I had chosen, so I just snipped them off. I stuck down the double-sided tape and carefully inserted the new screen. Now, all that is left to do is reassemble the whole thing. Placing in the buttons, switch, and membranes, connecting the motherboard to the screen and folding it into the correct position. Screw it back in and attach the rear shell. Now, install the new custom glass screen lens to match on brand with our custom shell. And finally, stick a reprint of the Game Boy Color sticker on the back to give it an authentic look. And it's done. Whack some AA batteries in and hope for the best that we did everything correctly. Luckily for my sake and anyone that might have been watching this as a tutorial video's sake, it works fine. This right here is the finished product. One thing that I'm kind of disappointed with is the misprinted screen lens. As you can see on the side there, there's quite a significant air bubble between the glass and the actual ink. Though by the time I put this all together, it was getting too close to Christmas and too late to ask for the lens to be reprinted. I actually thought it was a bubble in a screen protector and tried to peel it off, but no, I was wrong. Though I do have this spare glass screen lens with the original Game Boy logo on it. So once I give the actual Game Boy to John, I'll ask if he wants me to switch that screen out for this one, which will be easy enough to do. Nonetheless, now Joinen can relive the nostalgia of Pokemon Red in a beautiful IPS display. And of course I also made one for myself because Joinen couldn't be the only one with a wicked new Game Boy. Obviously at the time of recording I haven't given him the actual gift yet, but I'm sure he'll love it. And now he can actually take his Game Boy camera outside and actually see what he's taken a photo of. And who knows, maybe there might be an upcoming Sevi Cross Lemon Bites collab showcasing the Game Boy camera with these wicked new Game Boys. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.